All right, Thiago, tell me about one of your first jobs.
I'm going to talk a little bit about my second job. My second job I got when I was 19. That was back in 2006. And it was at a call center.
Putting an age to yourself.
Putting an age to myself. Can you guys see the gray hair here? Yeah.
What were you selling? Or were you receiving complaints?
Actually, the primary job was about receiving complaints. It was an American company that provided cable TV services in the US, and they outsourced the customer service operation here in Brazil. Basically, we were responsible for answering American customers' calls whenever they had a problem with their cable TV service. So basically, I would have to check the customer's account and see if the customer had paid the cable bill, for starters. That could be a reason why it wasn't working. Walk the customer through those troubleshooting steps.
Walk through troubleshooting.
When you guide someone through a process, like, okay, unplug your cable box, wait 10 seconds, plug it back in, now push this button. So we would do that kind of work. And after that, if the problem wasn't solved still, then we would schedule via the system a technician's visit.
What's a technician?
It's the cable guy that comes to your house to fix it. Yeah, so that was pretty much what the job entailed.
What does it mean if a job entails something?
What the job involved? What was involved in doing the job? It was a really nice experience for myself, professionally, and also as an English speaker, because I was speaking to Americans 6 hours a day, 6 days a week,
I imagine if you were helping Brazilians with their cable and you were speaking Portuguese all day, it might have felt a bit less glamorous than it was being in English and speaking to Americans.
Oh, but you know what, Ethan? Even though it was 100% in English, it wasn't that glamorous. You would just handle problems and complaints, and it was 6 hours straight. We had only a 15-minute break. There was a floor supervisor who was always walking around. So if you were not on a call, you would get told off immediately. Yeah. So the idea was you end a call, you have to jump in on the next one right away. So yeah, it was a little bit tough in that sense.
No lollygagging, I suppose.
Lollygagging, I like that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means you're fooling around, you're not doing what you're supposed to, you're not working. And you mentioned a couple nice things too. You said the floor supervisor. So is that someone who supervises the floor? They just look at the floor all day?
I don't know if I said it correctly, but it's the person who is walking around just observing the operations. We didn't have cubicles. It was an open space. Yeah, we would sit next to each other. So there was a person walking on the floor, just, making sure that we were talking to customers.
You used it correctly. It's an interesting use of floor. In that case, it's like the factory floor or the floor of the center, just meaning the area. And you also said you'd get told off by your supervisor. What does that mean if your supervisor, your manager, your boss tells you off?
Yeah, when they call your attention because you are doing something wrong or something you're not supposed to. So yeah, it wasn't a glamorous job, but it was definitely helpful in my career. But Ethan, I'm actually curious about your experience with your first job. Do you have any to share with us?
My first job was, I believe I was 17, and I worked as a busboy in a Greek restaurant because I was saving up it was before my first experience studying abroad, and I wanted to have some spending money I was going to be living with a family and have all of my basics taken care of. But, for if I went to do things with friends or if I wanted to travel or anything like that, I'd have a bit of spending money.
One of the most frustrating things is when you learn new words and expressions, like the ones we are learning today, and when it's time for you to actually use those words in conversations, they don't come to you. You forget them. I know it's a horrible feeling, but there's a powerful system you can use to help you memorize all these words and expression. This system is called spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a learning technique that involves reviewing and revisiting information at increasing intervals over time. The basic idea is to expose yourself to the information you're trying to learn in a way that optimally reinforces your memory. As someone who works in English, I can't stress enough how important it is to have an ample vocabulary. And we have made it easy for you to incorporate spaced repetition in your learning with the RealLife English app. With the app, you can learn tons of words, phrasal verbs, and expressions with our advanced technology that helps to review the words you're trying to remember by presenting the new vocabulary to you at strategic times. Wouldn't you also like to effortlessly use the right words and expressions when you need them? So if you want to go from feeling like a lost, insecure English learner to becoming a confident, natural English speaker who actually remembers all the words you study, download the Real Life English app and give it a try. I'm sure you will love it. Go to Google Play Store, Apple App Store, search for Real Life English, or simply click on the link in the description of the video. I'll see you there. Ethan, I think it's nice to define that word because I think not most, but many viewers here might think that you actually used to work on a bus, the transportation.
That does
Is that the
sound
case?
like that,
Did you work on a bus? A bus boy?
Yeah. There's a very specific use of this word bus as a verb, which means to bus tables, which basically means that you are collecting the glasses, the dirty plates, you're wiping it down. And I don't know if this is always a responsibility of bus boys, but for example, when people would first arrive, I would take their drink orders. So before the waiter came over and told them about the specials for the day and took their main order. This also isn't a very glamorous job, I have to say.
I guess most first jobs are not, right? You have little experience, right? You get paid not so well. Is it different from being a waiter? Being a bus boy versus being a waiter? Is it different?
Yeah, it's we could say a more junior position. Sounds more like you're talking about business than a restaurant, but generally it'll be young people. That was also my brother's first job, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a common one because it's pretty simple. There's not much you can screw up. I did have a very demanding boss though. And when we'd get the lunch crowd, get the busy time of day, she would just get very stressed out and she would pass that stress along to the waiters and to me, to the busboy, to pretty much everyone else. I'm like, you need to hurry up. You need to be over there. That table needs this. That table needs that. It's just like, calm down, like take it easy. People can wait 1 minute to get their drink. It's not the end of the world and everything. But it just would be during the lunch rush. It would cause buzzing sensation of everyone running around trying to do things as fast as possible. That was not so pleasant. And I remember one time I got blamed for someone else broke some glasses, but I got blamed for it because it was in my station. Someone probably was rushing to pick up or drop some glasses there and broke them. So that wasn't so fun.
I think that first jobs like that, though, especially those that are not so glamorous, they are great at teaching us how the world works and how the world sometimes is not fair. Yeah, so as a young person who is, in their late teens, it's a great experience for you to see how things actually work. So I wanted to ask about demanding because you said that you had a demanding boss. So first of all, what does that mean to have a demanding boss? And what does it mean to put up with someone's BS?
That's actually a good one, demanding, because I think in some languages, demand can be like order. So in a restaurant in English, we order things. We don't demand things from the waiter, from the kitchen.
I want a burger now.
You might, maybe if you're really hangry, if you're hungry and angry, you might be demanding that you get your food instantly. In English, demand means that you're asking for something right this instance, or you're asking for something with a strong emotion behind it. And this was the case of her, that she would have the stress, and so she would be kind of barking out orders to all the staff, to the waiters, to me. Not a great place to work if you have a boss who's really stressed out. Put up with someone's BS. So BS is bullshit, which bullshit is something that makes no sense, foolishness. Or even in this case, bullshit could be just someone acting in a way that you don't approve of or you don't understand so well. And to put up with something is to tolerate it, basically. So trying not to let her stress me out and just going along with my job.
You said something else just now, so I gotta point it out because that was an awesome, phrasal verb. Barking out orders. So a dog barks, right? Is the sound a dog makes. But what does it mean when a person barks out orders?
Yeah, that is a great one. And again, if you have the boss who's saying, do this, do that, they're barking out orders. And we probably use that. Oftentimes, you will relate people to animals when you want to emphasize the negative behavior. So for example, we also could say to pig out. It means when someone is just eating excessively, right? You might do this, maybe you've been on a diet for several weeks and then you're off your diet, you're going to pig out that first day. You're going to have all those things that you couldn't have the last few weeks on your diet.
Ethan, I wanted to ask you another question about your experience. Being a busboy for a while, Did that teach you any life lesson? Did you learn anything like for life?
I learned I did not want to work in a restaurant.
We can, cross that item
that
off
off,
the list, right? I'm not going to work at a restaurant.
That's a good lesson, is to know what you don't want to do. One more serious thing is that it makes me more appreciative. In general, when I eat out, I try to be understanding. When I notice the place is really busy, I try to be kind to the waiter, not be someone who's demanding and causing them more stress than they need to have. Tipping well as well. I think anyone who works in a restaurant in the United States gets in good habits of tipping well. Another habit I have is when we eat out, a lot of times, if there's several different plates, I'll already stack them. So the person just has to come over and grab the stack. They don't have to come and stack them themselves. That's something also my sister-in-law does, because she worked for years as a waitress when she was in university.
So you become more empathetic, right? Or sympathetic towards
Yeah.
waiters, people who work at restaurants, right?
I was going to say that about your position as well, because you're working customer service. And that's something too that oftentimes we take for granted, that when you're calling about some problem you're having, you'll take it out on the person who's on the receiving end of it. You'll take that stress out, or that negative experience out. We really need to remind ourselves it's not that person's fault. They're just doing their job, and they're having to take this shit all day from different people. So just being that person who's extra friendly when they tell you their name at the beginning, like even repeating their name, saying good morning, being polite, it makes a bit of a difference in their day compared to all the people who are just taking out on them all the whatever they're struggling with.
Global citizens, thank you very much for learning with us. But you should know that this was just a short clip from the full lesson. The full lesson is available on the Real Life English app. So come on, download the app and continue listening there. You're gonna learn even more cool stuff. See you soon.